Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Perafilozof City Skylines videos. In this one I'm going to continue building up the city in which I plan to reach 1 million population on the hard mode. In the previous episode I have made some changes to the city's industry and I am meted with a few services, abandoned to a few services. Very interesting. What is going on in this part of the city? As I was saying in the previous episodes, I have made some changes to how my industry was developing. Instead of the specialized, I had used the generic. Alright, so no police coverage in this area. I had used the generic to start producing more goods, but now as you can see I'm producing a lot more. I'm hoping that the commercial demand will make sure that those goods are used before I start exporting too much, and because I wanted to employ my teams who were educated and didn't seem to want to work anymore in the factories from specialized industry that required uneducated workers. So let's see how would this go. The highways can stay raised, I think. No need to remain drop down like these. But the train tracks have to go down if I want to build the train stations here. Let's see, the first one would go here. On this side like this. This one may be up to the edge as well. Alright, and the other one needs to be a mirror image. So if here I have how much space allowed for it, let's see, about 825 until I reach the highway. Perfect. This should be operational without any problems. I will turn it off right now because I do not need it to be operational yet. Now, how are these streets gonna go in between these areas? I guess I could lower the highway here and get a cross street from here to here, but I will see how that's gonna turn out. The street that the cargo train terminal is connected to should always be a one-way because they would go through here, down here, enter here and exit here. So there should be also a connection here. Not gonna happen like that. That's better. Now, what isn't a one-way here? This and this. Although they have to come from here, so need to turn this around. There we go. And what else? There has to be a stop for them somewhere. I guess if they're coming in from here, go up, exit, and then come out either this way or this way. Although they might as well go back. So if they exit here and they want to go over here, they can use this one. And this one here is a two-way, so it will allow traffic to go through here and to come from here. Alright, so that should be everything necessary for this one here. This is still a one-way, so that there's no cross streets here and traffic coming in here and messing up with the traffic flow for the cargo train station. The incinerator is here, the next one would be right below it, and here would be a solar power plant. Let's see, is there enough space here? There should be. And there it is. It's interesting, I can move it any further up. Oh, I can. Excellent. I will keep it off, I'm just placing it so that I know where the roads would be going through. Alright, so now if I want more zones, they have to go down here. These cross streets, I kinda messed them up, so I'll be bulldozing these. I have brought the water supply down here. Yes, I have. The power is connected also. Just not sure what to do with this one here. In this neighborhood, you can see that these streets went down and then hit a cross street. So if I want to do the same thing here, they would have to go from here down here and then hit a cross street here. But the trick is these two sides of the city aren't mirror images, because this one is going like this from bottom up, and this one, if I keep this orientation, it goes from the left to the right. So these cannot be connected in the same way. This connection has to stop here, and this road's not drawn here, like I made a mistake in a few videos back and drew them all the way. So how exactly do I connect this? I could draw one here, but that's going to create some more traffic. I could connect them back into the highways. That does not seem like the brightest idea. Well, yeah. I think this will have to go like this. One cross street will have to go through here so that they can enter into this part of the city, and there shouldn't be that much traffic going in between these two parts. Maybe a few trucks here and there, and the city services vehicles. So let me shorten this a bit, and this street would go through here as a two-way, and I can connect with these. It's going to be interesting to see how exactly this works out, but for now I should keep to creating these zones here. One additional problem is created when I create cross streets. These are highway cross streets here that I'm making. This one goes from the left to the right, and you see what happens with the zones. This thing here, whatever do I call it, but it is creating a problem for me, and I'm not sure why it is so. There seems to be a problem when you want to connect multiple streets with cross streets. Something like this happens. I'm not sure, is it only because of the terrain, or would it happen on a flat ground as well? And it also is different depending on where exactly do you place the street. For example, you saw how it was creating these lines here when I was drawing it from left to right. Now watch what happens if I disconnect this. It's still there, and if I were to first make this connection now, and now create this connection, oops, now it's giving off different zones. You see this area here? Well, this area is expected to be messed up because it's a two-way meeting a two-way, so that usually gets messed up. But you see, there's no longer that empty square here like there is here. So it's like depending on when do you build it, it creates a different problem. So I'm going to take this cross street through here. Actually, no, this one is supposed to be on the other side, going out towards this area, so it turns this way, but it's easier to make it going this way. And now I hit another problem. This isn't gonna be straight. but this will easily correct from this side. Okay, so the traffic goes from this side into this one, and again these zones are messed up, but if I were to delete the one that is messed up and then remake it after the cross street, it gets messed up in a different direction. I told you I was gonna have problems because of this terrain, and now you see the problem in action. It's because the streets try to follow the terrain and go a bit to the sides, and then when you add a cross street, it ruins these zones. Not entirely sure what I could possibly do about that, except redo streets continuously as I add cross streets. You see, it helps sometimes. Sometimes it ruins the street in a different way. Yeah, terrible zoning here on the hill. I will think about placing services here so that I don't even have to zone here, if at all possible to place the services there. Over here it's normal for the zones to get messed up on a hill between two cross streets that are two ways, but I was hoping that the highway ramps would avoid messing up so many zones, but then again they do seem to lessen the messing up when I have them through here. Alright, and I need to finish doing this for the rest of these areas. Alright, so that would be the rest of the areas. The cross street would go here. Oops, don't mess that up. And this would be one entire area, so like I planned it, I would have now more cross streets. There would be a fewer of the two ways, but I would at least have one ways going through here like this and without messing up the zones. This will continue down here, and as well as on this side. I will probably have to redo this bridge again because now I can't draw all the streets down here because they're hitting pillars. So again, have to destroy this thing to get the cross streets to go down. Actually, these are zonable streets, not the cross streets. And this connects here. Alright, so that is working out nicely. The services in these areas, like I said, I might as well place them on these hills where I would have terrible zones. The parks again are gonna go onto the edges and in the middle to create good coverage. The incinerators go up there. Anything else? Alright, the buses. I'm not sure, should I build another bus depot, or is the one that's over here able to make sure that I have enough buses? It is kind of in a bad area here. But these are just office buildings. Oh, I finally have a commercial at level 3. How about that? All it took is to be in the center of all services. Actually, that's not the only one. This one is level 3 as well. Awesome. So all you need is the maximum available number of services to be at the same spot. These are elementary schools, this is a park, this is a crematorium, this is a hospital up here, this is a fire station, this is a high school, this is a police station, and that is where the building decided to level up. There are a few on the edges as well. It could be that they finally received enough high health sims to shop there, and the land value ended up being high enough for the building to level up. Well, I'm happy that that is at least possible. I was starting to be afraid that I couldn't even get that to level 3. Huh, this one is not level 3 as well. Very interesting indeed. Now if I could only figure out how to get the industry to level up always to level 3 and not stay at level 2, that would be the best. Anyway, this area needs to be zoned, so offices next to the edge, like so, and nothing here, because this is the road that leads to the cargo train terminal. After the offices, like I said, 2 areas of residential. This area would have noise pollution most likely. Might as well avoid that. So like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then again, next to the road goes the office. Like this, I guess. And this can be filled with offices as well. After the road and the offices come the high density commercials, I believe. So like this, where it's possible, because of the messed up zones, very few places it is possible. So I guess like this. Alright, and where would then the parks be? The parks, one has to be about here to get the highest amount of influence for these areas. Although it would be easier to just place one here, I think there's just enough space for a square one to fit without destroying. There isn't. It needs 5 by 5, I think. So I would have to sacrifice one of these areas. And again, why not just put it like this? I don't think so. I think I will keep to this orientation like this, and then these can go over here on this edge and here on this edge. That should provide excellent coverage from parks. So these are the offices, this is the commercial area. This now becomes more commercial areas. After the commercial areas go again the offices, like this. Not the best of zoning, I am well aware. And after this, I finally get more residential areas. So 4, 4, and another 4. And what happens now? I have 1 space remaining. So because of moving that street a little bit up, I am now free to use 2 more zones here. I guess I can simply use offices to fill this, then across the street go with high density commercial areas, and then after that I can have 2 zones of industry, 1 and 2. It even leaves me with an empty spot here, which isn't actually what I had in mind, although it's not that bad. I can get rid of 1 zone of commercial and use this as an extra space for industry, so it would be looking like this. Yeah, I think this can work out seamlessly. Alright, so that is how this new area would end up looking. Because I don't want to zone so much at the moment, I will start off slowly. So now that I've remembered what should go, I guess I can dezone all of this. I do not have a demand for residential, so I'm not sure are these areas even gonna be filled. I have been still toying around with the industry in these areas, and I still have jobs that are unfilled and still have unemployment. So I'm not sure whether or not I have finished switching enough forestry industry for generic industry for that area up there of the city to work. I think the better idea would be to keep switching the forestry for generic, and then when I'm done doing that, to zone this area, and hopefully then there will be need for the teams to actually move in and start living in this area. So we'll turn everything off in this area for now and just concentrate on switching the forestry for generic industry. I believe that I need to satisfy more high density commercial demand, and for the high density commercial who produce a lot of noise pollution to be away from my residential areas, I think it's an excellent time to get rid of some of the forestry areas in order to get more commercial demand satisfied. So I will go along this line and tear down these areas of forestry. That will help getting rid of the workers who are overeducated working in the wrong type of industry. This area here can be offices. This forestry area needs to be reduced now through here, and then through here as well. Now I will have fewer industries where my people who do not wish to work anymore in industries who do not require educated workers will be able to stop working there. This is another office area, so these two should be connected in the same district, and the people can now work in the high density commercial areas, which should provide them with higher jobs that require higher education. Alright, as these buildings go up, they are going to satisfy the need that I've had for commercial areas, while the industry up here that I'm switching between forestry to industry should get more workers employed. And the interesting thing is people employed is 37,000 because I've removed so much forestry industry, but the jobs available are now 41,000, yet nobody seems to be taking them. But it's only the industry that is at level 1 that says not enough workers. If it levels up to level 2 or 3, it gets more workers instantaneously. So I think that was the right call to get the higher level industry that is going to require more educated population. One of my subscribers had told me this a few videos back, so he was definitely right that I should just switch the forestry for generic industry, which is leveled up. I know I have yet to start expanding here for the last 3 videos, but it is simply how it has to go. I have to make sure that the previous parts of the city are built correctly before I can actually expand to a new part of the city. And this area here, now that offices and commercial areas are at the same line, I can connect them into a single district and use the policy to increase the amount of goods that these high density commercial buildings are going to be spending. I'm pretty sure that I'm now exporting a lot of goods, as you can see here, but I have reduced the exports for the forest industry, so it's about the same amount of trucks on the streets who are doing the exports. Although I will be increasing the imports because the generic industry requires ore and oil more, so it is expected for this industry's imports to offset the reduced exports. The good thing is that you can always increase how much. Why are you abandoned? Probably not enough workers, yeah. Oops, should not have deleted that one. The more commercial I have, the more demand for goods they have, and I can increase it with the pulse like you just saw. And any new high density, any new high leveled generic industry that I make who make more goods are going to have those commercial buildings to send those goods to. Again, abandoned, probably not enough workers. It was probably too low level to actually get. See, if it's a level 1, it's gonna say not enough workers, but if it levels up, it's gonna have enough workers because they're highly educated workers. Alright, so how is the industry here? Some of them still haven't leveled up, so they still want more workers. Interestingly enough, even this one at level 2 says not enough workers. And yet my unemployment is at 3%. Highly interesting indeed. I think I had another area that I switched for generic industry. Here it is. And they are well leveled, as you can see, and they are not requiring more workers. But as you can see, 4,000 jobs that aren't filled. In that case, I might as well switch some of the low density residential for high density. I think these zones that I previously zoned are finally getting filled up. I had one here that wasn't getting filled up, and now, as you can see, the last building is filling up this area here. And over here I had a few that wasn't built, and now they are all built. So as I can see, I can add more high density residential in these areas. I finally have some residential demand, as I haven't had it in a very long time. I wonder, could I zone anything here? I guess I could zone some residential areas here, why not? I mean, this road does not see that much traffic that it would be a problem. And how's the industry? Is it still requiring workers? Some of it is. The ones that are lower level, but the higher level ones seem to be adequately supplied with workers. And this will have to keep going on in these areas. I will have to be switching the zones for other zones until I reach a stable balance to be able to... You see, the commercial buildings, the high density ones, not a single one of these is asking for more workers, but the buildings who require uneducated workers are screaming for more workers. So it's definitely down to the educational balance that I have this issue with the workers. I think I can have generic industry here in these two areas, because then the pollution will stop at the commercial buildings and the offices and not go into the residential areas. So probably all of my forestry is going to end up as generic industry. And my education level is probably now up as well. Yeah, only 6% uneducated. I'm not sure whether or not to add more schools. I am building up more high density areas here, so it may be actually a good idea to plop another high school here. And I do not have a university down here at all. I have it up here, but not down here. So let's say one of these areas receives a university, and the other one receives a high school. I have no problems with the forestry industry going abandoned due to not enough workers. I can even bulldoze and dezone the ones that are already a problem for workers, because I do not want the forestry industry anymore. I had hoped to build a clean city with agriculture and forestry industry, but it seems the game is just not made that way to make that possible, so I will be switching that out for generic industry. Alright, these areas seem to be settling properly. I still have more demand for high density commercial. I guess I can switch the low density commercial for high density, and that should satisfy those needs. Okay, and how are the zones here? Yep, still industry requiring more workers. while I'm increasing the amount of workers that I have, but still 5,000 jobs empty. Good question is, how do I get more? I guess I can try and get rid of some of the offices I have previously built. Switch these areas back up for high density residential areas. The balance is kind of hard to reach because as the buildings level up, they change the amount of people. They have an amount of jobs that they require. So that is what is throwing me off here. Of course, I could also end up leveling these residential areas further, and that would provide me with more workers per building. But for some reason, they never want to fill these residential buildings up to full capacity. There is almost not a single one of these high density buildings that has the maximum number of households in it. And I am really not sure what is the reason behind this. So these are, some of them are at level 4, some are at level 3. I'm not even sure. Value of land. Yeah, so if I want to increase their level to level 4, I will need to use some more tricks to get the land value up. That would probably mean using the policies for parks and recreation. That should increase the land value and make the buildings level up. I guess just another one of the elements with which I will have to play around with. I do finally have more residential demand as I have a lot more jobs to fill. So like I said in my previous episodes, you do need to have more jobs available if you want to get a residential demand. Well, I think this is enough toying around with this for now. I may spend some time just playing off camera while I'm trying to balance out these zones, level the buildings up and make sure to have enough workers wherever they are needed, and change the forestry industry for the generic. So thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more.